Welcome back to our second installment of JD Tutorials presents the Roland EA7 Arranger keyboard. Now that you've gotten a look where the basic buttons on the instrument are, you've probably started to wonder how you're going to be able to dive in and really get to use them. Well, before we do that, what we're going to do is outline some of the features that you can find on pages 12 and 13 of your owner's manual entitled Before You Start Using the EA7. Let's start here on the right side of the instrument with the power button. Now, before you depress the power button, Roland does suggest that you ensure that your master volume, which you can find all the way on the left side of your instrument, is set to the minimum position. Once your volume is set at the minimum, I'll press and momentarily hold that power button. You can see the screens instantly start to light up. We can see the Roland name brand, the EA7 specific product name, and we get a little animation as the instrument boots up prior to showing you its default to screens. Now, while we're talking about powering the instrument on, let's also talk about, of course, its counterpart, powering it off. There is a subtle difference between powering on and powering off. You'll notice I was able to just briefly depress to power on. You will want to press and momentarily hold the power button in order to turn the instrument off. Again, just as we ensured that the master volume was set to the complete minimum in order to turn the instrument on, you'll want to do the same before turning it off. On the right, I now press and momentarily hold the button, and you'll see the power off logo, and the instrument then shuts down. Well, let's turn it back on for a moment as we continue our journey through these buttons. Since we've referenced the master volume switch, let's talk a little bit more about that. The master volume switch, of course, we pointed out, is on the far left of the instrument here. It's actually got two functions. Not only will it control the volume output of the instrument from its internal speakers, but it will also control the headphone volume should you choose to plug in a set of headphones. Now, when it comes to the speakers that you have chosen, be it headphones, internal speakers, or perhaps the line out that the instrument provides you, you're going to discover that on the far right of the instrument, you've got a button labeled Output Mode. This is an important button because it will optimize the output sound based on the speakers that you've chosen. For instance, when I depress this button and I see this blue light on, you can see that the indicator says built-in speaker. That means that the sound has been optimized to come from the internal speakers. If instead I turn that light off, now you can see when the light is off, the sounds have been optimized for a line output. In other words, it's applying an equalization and a compression based on the fact that the output is going out of the line level output and is intended to be going into some other speaker system. It is worthy of mentioning that you can manipulate those EQ and compression settings through various menus, but we'll get into that in a later video. One of the last things that you should be aware of when it comes to the on, off, and general volume functions of this instrument is the fact that it does have a built-in auto power off function. It's designed, of course, to save electricity, but remember, should you have a combination of rhythm style and sounds that you've chosen that you've not yet saved, and the instrument powers down, you're going to lose your work. So let's find out how we can activate and deactivate that feature. We'll start by pressing the menu button. When you press the menu button, the right screen presents you with various menu options. Well, we would like to select the global option, and now we need to select page 2 within the global settings. On page 2, you can see that the first setting, which happens to be selected, is auto off. By pressing these two value buttons, I can change that parameter. So right now it's set to off. I can set the auto off setting for 10 minutes from now, 30 minutes from now, or at the uppermost level, 240 minutes from now. Just to be safe, I'm going to set mine to off. In this fashion, the instrument will not turn off unless I ask it to do so. All right, well, now that you know how to turn the power on and off on your instrument, I'm sure that you are very anxious to get started making music. Well, we'd like to invite you to join us for our next video where we'll lay out the basics of the EA7 and how to interact with these screens and buttons that you've just seen.